I was all excited after last week's episode, so I went online because, damn it, I wanted an ARK coffee mug. There's no ARK merchandise. Even on sci-fi-channel.com. There's no t-shirts, no stickers, no nothing. I could have gotten a Warehouse 13 mug. Who the fuck wants a Warehouse 13 mug?
ARK at the moon? Did we already do ARK at the moon? We did. Let's make sure we're not arcing up the wrong tree.
Oh, God.
Boo.
I know. Sorry.
What about this episode, man? It's almost competent.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask y'all. Let's say, like, for whatever reason, we got it into our heads that we were going to watch and review, like, the Real Housewives of Boise, Idaho, or whatever the kind of show. We'd watch it, we'd mock it, but after 2 or 3 or 4 episodes, just inadvertently, we would not be able to help it. We'd get to know the characters' names. We'd get a little bit into the plot. We might hate it. It might suck. But you can't help getting into a show that, you spend this much time talking about and watching and thinking about. So are we suffering from that? Do we have a skewed perspective, or is it actually a good show?
Good question. Are we having like kind of a Stockholm Syndrome effect, you're asking?
Is the ARK holding us hostage?
Since we have to watch it, are we just looking for the good?
My answer that I kind of just formulated in my head after asking the question is I don't think that's what we're suffering from. In other words, the ARK actually is good and has redeemable qualities because we had a similar situation with the Rings of Power.
Yes.
And we in no way got into it or started liking it or started coming around. It's just we kept just falling deeper and deeper into the morass,
When they opened up the show, which I think the people they kicked out of the bridge last episode haven't come back yet.
Because it's a very empty bridge in the background.
Yeah, it's several days later, and it's still just them on the bridge.
You know what happened is they kicked them off the bridge for that arrest of Garnett, and then the bridge people were like waiting, and then they heard like some EDM music coming from down the hallway, and they found the rave, and now they're all raving. Yeah, the episode, it opens up with more of the shameful Dr. Drug plot, which is boring the piss out of me. And quick trivia question: what's the doctor's name?
God damn it! I don't know the doctor's name.
I don't know either.
The doctor. That's all you need to know.
Well, I've actually started referring to Lane in my head as Lane instead of Douche Lieutenant. So I guess that's
Lieutenant Douche Lane. Is that his name?
Douche Lane. Yeah, that's actually kind of a cool name. It's like Ford Fairlane, but it's Douche Lane.
Douche Lane.
So yeah, speaking of Lane, first he walks in on the doctor. He's being all nice. He's like, take a nap, go to sleep. Immediately, she walks, not even out of the room. She walks behind a curtain, and he just sits down on her computer and starts.
Yeah, about 3 seconds later, he's on her computer.
Wait like 60 seconds or something. Wait till you hear a snore.
Or you show like a quick melt, and you show him like pacing the room, looking nervous, and then he jumps on the computer. Yeah.
When he was being nice to her, y'all probably felt the same way, but I knew exactly what he was doing. He was looking for dirt on guard. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So obvious.
This is why the ARK does not have a bunch of woke douchebags writing for it, is because in any other production studio other than this like Serbian produced weird sci-fi amalgamation, he would be white.
Oh, yeah.
He's far too brown to be a villain. I think they missed a chance to cast him as a white male. There was some initial hallway talky exposition about how clones we didn't know this, but clones were reviled and hated because they were so violent and unstable. They got into a little bit about the first tier, second tier, and Sharon Garnett.
Sharon, yes.
Denise.
Totally not Denise.
Not Denise Garnett. So the doctor kind of closes out her introductory thing by having her awesome line.
I'd rather deal with a possible mental break from Sharon than your clinical case of small penis syndrome.
Right.
When I heard that, I had to pause because I was like looking around for somebody to high five. I was like, yeah, woo! Or I wasn't, but I thought she was right on. I think Lane probably does have a small dong.
I just don't think he likes women.
Is it just her, or do you hate all women?
Did you just hear a word I just said?
They did mention that it would take a while to get back up to near light speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take us like half an hour.
Well, I actually paused the show and looked up at 1G of thrust. It would be somewhere between 1 and 2 years at 1G of constant thrust to get that fast to near light speed, assuming you can't broach the speed of light.
However, since no braking force was actually applied, they would not have slowed down from their previous speed.
Yeah, they only just made a full U-turn.
It wasn't that no braking force was applied. It was all the braking force and then accelerating in the other direction. But if it took 1 to 2 years to get up to near light speed, it would also, of course, take that long to slow down at 1G.
Oh, they're only like a month away from their place. They're just going full barrel. They're just going to hit that planet. Like
They're going to hold a maneuver Proxima B.
No. So they had a new engine set. Did y'all notice? They showed the inside of the nips.
They had a brand new matte painting that they had.
That took some Serbian painter like weeks of his life.
Yeah.
So as soon as they show that scene, it's Eva and rando crewman, and even though he was wearing an orange coverall jumpsuit, we'd never seen it before. Therefore, he should have just been wearing a red shirt, right?
When he was realizing what was happening, I thought he should have looked down at himself, slowly unzipped his jumpsuit, and revealed the red T-shirt beneath. Why?
And they're like, no.
do you like that the whole ship is powered by Prel shampoo?
Wait, what?
The green goo.
Oh. Prel. Jesus Christ.
Who uses Prel anymore? That's just...
Apparently they found some in Serbia.
It's such an 80s shampoo. When the little containment vessel ruptured, did you notice that the highly radioactive stuff was leaking out next to a biohazard symbol? That was the wrong symbol. The biohazard symbol on the highly radioactive goo tank.
We have Android Watch, which is a weekly thing. We should also have best sci-fi appearance in a sports bra.
Yes.
It'd be like if the chief engineer was a male and had the coveralls hanging around his waist and was just shirtless and walking around and talking to the cat. That'd be weird, right? Not that there's really an overriding military protocol. They're making shit up as they go. So, kudos to Eva for doing her own thing and being like, what, are you going to fuck with me? I'm the only one who knows how this shit works. I'd like to take a moment to thank one person, one specific viewer of all these videos. We've had some good views on these videos, more so than regular. And I think in my head canon, there's one guy who's a production assistant on the show, and he watches them because obviously, you're part of something like that. He's a Serbian guy named Sergey, and he was proud of the show, and then the show starts airing. So of course it'd be the most natural thing in the world to start scouring YouTube to see what's out there. And he finds our channel, our videos, and he's watching them, and he feels justified by what we are preaching here because he was a PA. He was like a lonely guy. He wasn't like the director or writer or anything like that. And they kept making all they kept stepping on their sci-fi dicks, and he would be like, "Excuse me, sir. That's the wrong symbol. That's not a radiation sign." Or he'd be like, you light speed, you can't do that. You can't turn around suddenly. Or they'd be all crushed. And he kept saying these things. And everybody's like, "Oh, shut the fuck up, Sergey. Go get my goddamn mochaccino," or whatever, mochaccino. And now he's watching us, and he's like, "Yes, these people knew. Yeah." So, Sergey, if you're out there, leave a comment, man. I know you're out there. We'll have you on the show. We'll talk to you. It'll be awesome.
Oh, we'd love to talk to somebody about this show.
That'd be awesome. Or Eva. If you're out there and you're not doing anything, like call us or email me. Oh, trivia question.
Oh, what do you got?
What's Dirty Girl assistant security officer? What's her name? Because I don't know what it is.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know yet, but she is definitely the android because she's the only one that didn't have a hallucination last week.
So Eva or her, and also blonde psychiatrist chick. If you're out there and your head doesn't actually look like that, email me. If your head does look like that, then don't bother.
Wow.
So here's something that I really, really liked when it happened. There was nothing that was like eye-rolly, and I was actually like, oh shit, she just came up in my estimation like by 10, and she was already pretty high in my estimation. But they've been working the multiple suspects for the murder the last few episodes, and it's all on Eva, right? Psychiatrist chick is like, I think it was Eva.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Strickland's like,
I just have a couple of questions about your whereabouts when the murder occurred.
so Eva, at first, she throws him into the fucking room, locks the door, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is she doing? Is she the murderer?
Oh, God, it is her.
She was just making an awesome, really, really effective point.
I wanted to kill this asshole. This is how I would have done it. It would look like a heart attack. I am smarter than whoever did this.
Point made.
I mean, wasn't that an awesome scene? I thought they did that so well.
Oh, that was a great scene. Ingram there, Susan Ingram. I know her name.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I typed cougar looking fine, good butt, nice skirt. They didn't go like original Starfleet where it was like down to just barely under the fold of their ass. They actually had it come down to like mid calf. So that was a lot more military, I guess. So if the radiation spreads, if it spreads outside of that room, the worst thing in the universe will happen. The ship will lock down again. That's an instant death, like cheese grater for the entire crew. If the ship locks down again, I'm not a big fan of the Saw movies, but it's like the guy who made the Saw movies, that bad guy designed this ship. Because if anything happens at all, the whole ship locks down and everybody dies.
It crushes people indoors.
Oh, God, yeah, they were crushed in the doors. What the hell?
That's why Max Headroom, Steve Jobs, he's the guy from Saw because he designed the ship to be like a death trap.
Yeah, this whole radiation leak came down to throwing one lever. It was just one lever. There was only one place you could reach it, which is right next to where it was leaking from. And they had remote controls that fused. So, yeah, they've just got no backups for any systems at all.
No redundancies.
The reveal. What do you think about the reveal of the cult? I was surprised they resolved that so quickly.
Right before the reveal, like in the scene or two before that, minutes before it happened, I was like, oh, shit, dirty girl, hot security chief, assistant, she's the killer. She's the only one who hasn't like an accusation leveled against her. She's the only one who hasn't had any kind of suspicion. She was there the whole time. She's the killer. And then like 60 seconds later, they just like laid it all out bare. Like, nope, it's...
I loved what they did with the little nerdy girl when they grabbed her and they just haul her in.
Quick trivia question. Nerd girl, what's her name?
Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just learned
that this week.
When we started the show, we liked her, and then she got annoying, and now Rob in this latest episode was like, don't make us like you again.
Alicia's Adderall really kicked in. Did you notice how restrained she was compared to how she was in episodes like 1 or 2?
I think what that tells us is that prior to having her little like pseudo relationship with Trent, she was very, very, very sexually frustrated. And then when she got like a little smooch and a little bit of attention, she calmed the fuck down. So that tells us that nerd librarian girls with glasses that are real smart, if you want to shut them up, you got to give them the D.
Or she could be a manic depressive. She might be starting to go into her depressive cycle.
Oh, you're right. She had a low cycle now, but she'll start high cycling.
Oh, please don't.
It didn't work its way into my video because, I make a lot of cuts for time and stuff like that. But I was talking about how in the previous episode before this one, how she had her hair up. And I'm like, I actually kind of thought she was real hot with her hair up. So There's that.
When she tones it down, she's much more attractive as a character.
Does she have a British accent?
We were trying to figure out if she had an accent or not through the whole episode because it kept drifting in and out.
Yeah, and we'd never asked that before, despite her literally speaking like 8 million words in the past 4 episodes. Here we are in Ep 5, IMDb to the rescue. She is actually half Zimbabwean, grew up most of her young life in Zimbabwe, but her dad is a white boy British guy. So she learned to speak English. Probably, a lot of countries in Africa speak English anyway, but she grew up speaking English. And then when she got into, they didn't specify a grade, but she got into like drama and stuff, and she ended up going to England for, you know how when you're reading about people who go to school in like Britain, how they talk about like 5th form and 4th form. I have no idea what the fuck that means. So probably somewhere around 7th or 8th grade, she went to England and finished out her schooling and got into all drama and shit. So yes, she probably has a very distinct British accent. Hey, did you know that Alicia was I think she was a gymnast, so she's like all like tight and probably looks good in a leotard. Isn't he getting tired of accusing people and arresting them for murder? He's done that to like eight different people. You think he'd feel a little bit sheepish when he does it or leave himself a little bit of wiggle room, but he's like, I'm arresting you for murder. It's to the point where you're not really crew of the ARK, not arcing it, if you haven't been accused of murder.
See, that was the most useless part of the episode.
They say, no, we just had to do that for appearances so that the killer isn't aware.
What appearances? What did that buy them? Its only function was to fake out the audience again.
Because they needed to talk to her to see what she might know.
They could have just talked to her.
You think it was a complex gyration not needed just to trick the audience into thinking something?
Exactly.
I'm impressed that they've done this like 3 or 4 times now. They show something specifically in an episode, and then later they'll show that scene again.
You've mentioned like Agatha Christie, Glass Onion versus like good murder mysteries where if you're going to have a good murder mystery, you have to give the audience everything it needs to solve it. Otherwise, you're just douching it up and it doesn't count. So, yeah.
So as they started revealing that it's a ploy, I'm like, wait, there was a scene where he took the tablet. That means that someone cares about the story and is setting something up.
They showed his ability to pick the locks. We didn't even think of that.
Yeah. The lockpicky thing was heavily buried in the silly plot of that episode. So it was actually masked to me pretty well. Because every time they said, only 4 people had access or only 5. Yeah, I didn't immediately say to myself, oh, yeah, also Trent can pick locks. I never said that because when it happened at a far remove for ostensibly other purposes.
Which was genius. Yeah, that was really smart.
Yeah, it's competent storytelling.
A bare modicum of competence I reward greatly.
Right.
Rob, you were right.
Totally called it.
You totally called it.
I'd like a noise.
Trent's sacrifice. As it's happening, were you like, oh shit, are they really going to kill him? Isn't he one of the main characters? Were you all a little bit surprised?
I've never really read main character on him. Secondary main at most.
Next thought. Why is Trent having to run? Why is he wearing the compression suit when they have spacesuits?
Yeah, they could have just put a spacesuit on, and that's radiation proof.
You know where there's a lot of really unexpected, just sudden bursts of radiation? You know where that happens? Fucking space.
Yeah, spacesuits we built in the 60s can deflect radiation.
Also, you have a reactor on board. You would have reactor equipment.
That would imply they have backups for things.
Lack of redundancy. So Trent did his big sacrificial thing, and they haven't given any indication that there's any other individual cells of the evil cult. They probably don't know each other. Trent can't look over the entire crew and be like, yeah, that one and that one, because they kept him compartmentalized, which is good tactics. So let's say he's the last one that was on the entire ship alive that knew what was going on. He was able to infect Lane.
Yes, he brought Lane over to his side.
Lane was convinced by their last conversation. As he's sacrificing himself, as he's trying to do the right thing, he completes his mission given to him by Cougar Hot Redhead Lady with the nice butt and the skirt. He inducts Lane.
And then that's why he gladly goes off to kill himself, because the mission will go on.
Well, plus he's a relatively conflicted, has morals kind of guy, so he was trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, he thought he was acting in the right to preserve this balance that he keeps talking about that I don't know what the hell he's talking about with that.
I'll trust the show to fill us in because they do a pretty good job of filling us in at the proper time.
Yeah, oddly, somehow the ARK has gained my trust as a storyteller.
I know, that is weird. That's like going back to my previous scenarios. It's like, oddly, the Real Wives of Boise, Idaho has earned my trust. The flavor of love has earned my trust.
Yeah, there's going to be an explanation, and it's got to be a good one.
So if they unfreeze him, it's not like he has $8 trillion in like the ship's computer or something. He's not powerful or rich anymore. He's just some D-bag.
My theory is there actually are no other ARKs. This was all to save himself.
All right, so when he comes out, he doesn't need $8 billion. He has command override codes to every system on the ship.
Oh.
He's got a backdoor to every computer.
He's also the visionary that built this whole thing, so everyone's just going to follow him anyway.
He's able to be like charismatic David Koresh cult leader person.
Yeah.
Much like anybody who buys Apple products. They're all susceptible.
Whenever he wakes up, you're going to start having a schism of people picking sides.
I keep hoping that they bring Ingram back. I don't think it's likely to happen. I was very much hoping she was in the other cryopod.
I think that would have been more interesting, yes. It's got to be his wife, that's all. Or maybe his daughter.
The mystery continues. I'm wondering if it's a clone assassin of some kind, like a Denise equivalent. He's brought along as his personal bodyguard.
Like Mercy.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Lex Luthor's robotic chauffeur / executive assistant / secretary. She's got like a robot arm and she will like blast the shit out of anybody that fucks with Lex.
He's not behind getting rid of the command crew, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Wow, I haven't even considered that. Maybe they reached a certain distance and or time and his program was, all right, at this point, wake up the crew, simulate some kind of, and eject the command.
Oh, which would then give him an easy avenue to taking charge himself, because clearly he should.
Yeah.
Another thing I very much liked about this episode, Sharon was actually acting like a real captain for the first time, making like wise command decisions.
When they alluded to the fact that she kind of had won due to just basic crew acclaim and everybody kind of falling in line and following her, I didn't rail against that. So yeah, I do agree.
Do you think it was too much of a turn for Lane to see, before the big reveal at the end, do you think it was too much of a turn for Lane to have really kind of become an adult almost in this one? It's like he put it all aside when she made him XO.
He did have a definite reaction. It mollified his ambition. So, yes, very much so. But also, I think his short man syndrome, small penis syndrome was still lurking like Gollum style.
I don't think he's going to try to kill her. I think they're developing a relationship.
You think she's going to bring him around to betraying Steve Jobs?
I think they're going to have a moment like that.
At this point, the conclusion has left things in such arrears, unexpected. None of us predicted that at all.
This was a game changer.
There's a lot of ways it could go, yeah. We're intrigued by the mystery now. You know, I don't think we can refer to this as a bad show anymore.
I think you're right.
Mostly because every single episode has been better than the episode before it.
Right.
But assuming that case continues, we're 5 episodes in. How good has it got to be?
Your argument is that this is going to be the greatest sci-fi show ever.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Expanse.
Is it going to knock Firefly off the top? I mean, I'm just saying that given the mathematical progression of things, logically it must be the greatest sci-fi show in history about to happen.